Shalom everyone, and thank you for joining me in the study of Parashat Behaalotcha. Parashat Behaalotcha, which is the third parasha in the book of Numbers in Sefer Bamidbar, it's basically moving along in this journey from Mitzrayim, from Egypt, to the land of Israel. This is prior to the sin of the spies, and basically the Jewish people are about to go into the land of Israel. Few more days and they should be at the border. And therefore, with that context in mind, with that background in mind, with that understanding in mind of Parashat Behaalotcha, I would like to learn with you a very strange request that the Torah describes in our parasha. The Torah states the following: Vayomer Moshe, and Moshe said, Lechovav ben Reuel HaMidyani choten Moshe. So the word choten Moshe meaning Moshe's father-in-law. Now, who is Chovav ben Reuel? We know that Moshe's father-in-law's name is Yitro. We know that from the book of Exodus. So who is exactly Chovav? And if it's the same person, if it's Yitro, why was his name changed? And the Torah continues. Moshe says to his father-in-law, or to that person, Nosim anachnu el hamakom asher amar Hashem oto eten lachem. We are traveling to the place that Hashem told us that He will give it to us, which means the land of Israel. Lecha itanu, come with us, vehetavnu lach, and we will try to bestow upon you goodness and kindness. Ki Hashem diber tov al Israel, because Hashem spoke kindly about us, the Jewish people, Am Israel, and therefore we can share this kindness with you. Until here, it sounds wonderful. However, Moshe's father-in-law says to him, Vayomer elav, Lo elech, I am not going to go with you. I will not join you. Ki im el artzi ve'el moladeti elech, but rather I will go to my land, to my country, to my birthplace. So I'm not staying with you and I'm not going with you. Vayomer, so Moshe responded, Al na ta'azov otanu, please, don't abandon us. Don't go back to your country, to your birthplace. Just stay with us and enter the land of Israel with us. Why is that so important for me? Seems to be, Ki al ken yadata chanotenu bamidbar ve'ayita lanu le'einayim. Because you know how we encamp here in the desert, and you know all of our day-to-day operation, and you will be for us le'einayim, like eyes. Most of the times, this expression, einayim, liyot le'einayim, to be eyes to someone, it can be associated with the judges, which are they called ziknei ha'edah, and they are the ones, the elders, who are also the ro'im. It might be prophets, it might be people who can see for afar, which means it's someone who can lead us. That's interesting. Moshe is asking his father-in-law to be one of the leaders? What exactly is asking him? V'haya ki telech imanu, and if you will change your mind and you will join us, v'haya atov hahu asher yitiv Hashem imanu, vehetavnu lach. And whatever Hashem will give us, any blessings, any kindness, any goodness, we will share it with you. Now this paragraph is very, I would call it even enigmatic. It's very odd. Why would Moshe approach his father-in-law to join them entering the land of Israel? That's question number one. The second question is obviously, what is exactly the discussion here? If Moshe offers Yitro, if Chovav is Yitro, and we will examine it in a few minutes, to go into the land of Israel, why would Yitro refuse? What's wrong in going into the land of Israel and getting an inheritance in a land that was promised to the Jewish people? And the third question, which might be even the most difficult one, is what exactly the meaning behind Ve'ayita lanu le'einayim, and you will be for us like eyes. You will be like one of the leaders. what exactly the role or the position that Moshe offered to his father-in-law? So with that in mind, let's see the first commentator, obviously Rashi. Chovav, who is this person Chovav? Yitro, it's Yitro. שנאמר מבני חובב חותן משה. So it seems to be that Yitro has maybe another name, or alternatively, he is the son of Chovav, meaning Yitro's father was Chovav, and Yitro, was Moshe's father-in-law. So, we are dealing here between Moshe and Yitro. So Moshe is basically asking his father-in-law to join him and to go into the land of Israel. But why? Says Ramban, Nachmanides, Vayomer Moshe lechovav. Moshe says to Chovav, Kvar perashti, says Ramban, Ki Chovav, Shem chadash shekra'o liyitro, כאשר שב לתורת ישראל, כי זה דרך כל המתגייר. Which means, Yitro converted to Judaism. That's according to many opinions from among our sages. That Yitro, when he heard about the war against Amalek and the splitting of the sea and the fact that the Jews received the Torah, or maybe it was even before they received the Torah, he came, he approached Moshe, and then he converted to Judaism. So therefore, people who convert, they change their name, or they accept upon themselves a Hebrew name. So his Midianite name was Yitro, and his Hebrew name was Chovav, which comes from the word Chaviv, someone that we care about, someone who is kind, someone who is likable, someone that we love, Chaviv. So therefore, says Ramban, I have a proof. Yitro came, converted, his name was changed to Chovav, and this is why Moshe approached him with this name, Chovav. והנה משה, חילה פניו ללכת עמהם. So the Ramban, Nachmanides, says, Moshe in a way begged Yitro / Chovav to go with them to the land of Israel. ואמר לו סתם והטבנו לך. And Moshe, at the beginning of the conversation, he told Chovav, he told Yitro, we will just give you something good. והטבנו לך. We will do some kindness with you. והוא חשב, Yitro thought, שיתנו לו מן השלל כסף וזהב ובגדים וצאן ובקר, ולא תהיה לו נחלה בתוכם. So Chovav / Yitro, he understood from the beginning that Moshe is basically offering him what? Come with us to the land of Israel. We will give you some of the spoil, the gold, the silver, clothing, some flock, but not an inheritance, not a place to sit. And therefore, ועל כן, לא היה חפץ וענה כי אם אל ארצי ואל מולדתי אלך, כי שם לי נחלה ונכסים וכבוד. So Yitro says to his son-in-law, to Moshe, thank you, but no thank you. You can give me silver, gold, jewelry, flock, everything, but if you don't give me a place to settle, a place that I can build a house, a place of belonging, a place that I can call it home, no thank you. I'll go back to my place where I have an inheritance, I have a land, I have a territory, I have a home. I don't need to go to a land which I really don't get a piece of the land. ואז אמר לו משה, and then Moshe told him, אל נא תעזוב אותנו. Please, don't leave us, כי מדעתך המדבר תהיה לנו לעיניים בכיבוש הארצות, ותורנו הדרך אשר נעלה בה. Oh, now there is a change of paradigm here. There is a paradigm change. What do I mean by that? Until now, we thought it was just a very nice gesture. Moshe likes his father-in-law. This is the father of his wife, Tzipporah. He says, you know what, let's go as a family to the land of Israel. Yitro misunderstands Moshe, or maybe he did understand Moshe, and he thought Moshe offers him just gold, silver, jewelry, flock, and whatever, and Yitro says, I'm not interested. I am not interested, I'll go back to my place, I will miss you, but I'll go to a place that I can build a house, that this is my land, this is my territory. And then the Ramban suggests that we are not talking just about a nice gesture. Moshe is asking Yitro to do something for the Jewish people. What is that request? He says to him, Ki mida'atcha midbar, you, Yitro, you lived in the desert for a while. You know, you have a knowledge on the ways, the pathways that we should avoid or we should take in order to get into the land of Israel in the easiest way. תהיה לנו לעיניים בכיבוש הארצות. You will be like the gashash, which means the soldiers that you send at the beginning, almost like a spy, to scatter the land, to see this mountain is great to climb, and then you can attack the people from here, meaning he's basically hiring him, or at least he's offering him a job to be like someone who can strategize and to create a plan, a military plan of how to conquer the lands before the land of Israel and to help the Jewish people to get into the land of Israel in the easiest way. Now, before we continue on, there is definitely a question that we need to think about and we will need to address, and we will in a few minutes. This parsha is before the parsha that we will read next week about the Meraglim, the spies. And here, we know that the spies did a terrible job. Because of them, the Jewish people had to wander for 40 years in the desert. And we always don't really know if Moshe was the one to send them, or it was under the pressure of the people. Did God really give his consent to it or not? But here, we have a problem. Moshe is told by God that I'm going to bring you to a land filled with milk and honey. I will help you. I will lead you. And here Moshe is asking his father-in-law to what? To help him out. Was Moshe had any doubts regarding the entry to the land of Israel? That he needs to offer a job to his father-in-law to help them out in their journeys towards the land of Israel? Who exactly gave permission to Moshe to do it? So let's leave that question aside for a second. Let's just complete the Ramban. And the Ramban says, ותורנו הדרך אשר נעלה בה. So Moshe says to Yitro, you will show us the way, the pathway to go into the land of Israel. ומכל הטוב ההוא אשר ייטיב השם לנו, נתיב לך. And from everything good that Hashem will give us, we will give it to you as well. רמז או רמז לתת לו, he gave him a hint, that they will give him what? אחוזה בארץ, בארץ טובה, בשכרו על תורכו ועזרתו, אשר יעזרם בכיבוש הארץ. Which means, Moshe says to Yitro, if you will give us the keys for the land of Israel, meaning you will show us the pathways, the ways to get into the land of Israel safely, in exchange I will give you a piece of the land. Now, we all know, Yitro is not from any tribe. He's not from the tribe of Shimon, Gad, Reuven, Levi, Naphtali, Zvulun, Yosef. He was not Jewish, he converted to Judaism. He can't really have any territory because he has no tribe. And still Moshe says to him, I promise you, I'll give you something. In exchange of you helping us to conquer the land of Israel. Now, what was Yitro's answer? So if we go back to the pasuk, to the verse itself, if you look at the last verse, והיה הטוב ההוא אשר ייטיב השם עמנו והיטבנו לך. And the good that Hashem will bestow upon us, we're going to share with you and we will give it to you as well. No, Yitro agreed or didn't? Did Yitro go with Moshe or he didn't? It is so interesting that the narrative basically leaves it in a very ambivalent way. The first request was basically Yitro says, no, thank you. after Moshe explained his request and told Yitro, I will give you everything you are asking for, which means a territory, an inheritance in the land of Israel, in exchange of you helping us, we don't know if Yitro agreed or not. So the Ramban said, in the last line, Ve'al da'ati, and according to my opinion, says Ramban, Ki nitratza elav bazeh ve'asaken. That Yitro agreed and he gave his consent to Moshe, and he joined Moshe and Am Yisrael in their journey towards the land of Israel. Now, before we continue on, let's try to really delve into the question that I asked before. How come that Moshe is asking Yitro to lead them to the land of Israel? Do we have any doubts that Moshe had any kind of hesitations in terms of the idea that God is going to lead them to the land of Israel? Was Yitro the one that Moshe thought will lead them to the land of Israel? Moshe didn't rely on God? And even if Moshe thought that, you need to ask some others for help, why not to send spies? And I would like to suggest to you, perhaps, the following idea. Moshe understands that now, the eve, really, of their entry to the land of Israel, like a few days before, according to the original plan, prior to the spies and the punishment of 40 years in the desert, Moshe understands that the land of Israel, conquering the land of Israel, and also living in the land of Israel, it's not like dwelling in the desert. In the desert, you don't need to do much. You just need to follow God's commandments, and God will bring you the manna, the meat, the water, the protection, everything. You are surrounded with miracles. When you enter the land of Israel, you need to understand that you become a partner. You need to toil the land, you need to plow the land, you need to plant the land, you need to harvest, you need to protect the land, you need to have an army, you need to have a government, you need to have hospitals, you need to have a functioning state. And God is not going to do it for you. He is going to help you to be successful, but He's expecting of us to become full partners. And therefore, Moshe understands that the way to the land of Israel, you also need to try to prepare Am Yisrael, who just left Egypt, slaves, left Egypt, received the Torah. Now they are about to enter the land of Israel. What they experienced until now was only one thing: miracles upon miracles. They are not used yet to put any work, to do anything, to really show too much efforts. Moshe says, you know what? I will ask Yitro to show us the way. And by him showing us the way of what is the best place to go, what is the best mountain to climb in order to go into the land of Israel, I will teach the Jewish people that now we, the people, need to take an active role in going and entering the land of Israel. That's stage A. And then the second stage is dwelling and conquering and dwelling and building the land of Israel. So perhaps this is why Moshe offered Yitro not only just to join them, but in a way to lead them, to guide them, in order to show that this is the proper way to enter the land of Israel. No more relying only on God's miracles, but taking the initiative, starting the path of conquering the land of Israel and dwelling there with the idea that God would help. But we need to do our, what we call in Hebrew, ishtadlut, which means to put our efforts in order to what? To accomplish God's vision for us. That's the Ramban. The Or HaChaim suggested perhaps a little bit of a different idea. And he says the following. כוונת הדברים הוא לצד שאמרו ז"ל, ארץ ישראל נתחלקה לשבטים ולא לגרים. As I mentioned before, our sages said in Midrash Tanaim in the Sifrei that the land of Israel was divided to the tribes, but converts do not belong to any tribe. So basically, they cannot really get a place, an inheritance in the land of Israel. ומעתה, and therefore, אין מקום לתת חלק ונחלה לבני חובב תוך ישראל, זולת בדרך מתנה מחלקם. There is a way to give a territory, a piece of land to a convert. How? By gifting it to him or her. Meaning that a tribe decides to give a gift, a part of its land, to the converts. ולזה, and therefore, כשבא משה להבטיחו, so when Moshe promised Yitro that he is going to give him land, דקדק לומר, והטבנו לך. We will give it to you almost as a gift, פירוש, מחלק ישראל יתנו לו בתורת הטבה. ולצד שחש משה שלא יחפצו במאמר משה מהי סיבות אשר יסובבו הדבר, ג' יסובבו מבחינת המתנה וב' מבחינת ההבטחה. So Moshe understood that there are going to be 5 reasons to oppose his suggestion to Yitro. Again, Moshe offered Yitro that they will give him a gift, a territory in the land of Israel, but he knew that there can be 5 reasons to oppose it, which are, first, לצד שיתבייש הנשפע מהמשפיע. על דרך אומרה, מן דאכיל דלאו דילה, which means Yitro will be embarrassed. When time comes and a tribe of, Shimon, let's say, says, okay, Yitro, we're going to gift you 10 meters on 1 kilometer of territory, it's yours. Yitro will be embarrassed, he will be shy, and he will say, no, thank you. So that's one. The second one, לצד שיתמעט כבוד המקבל מתנה בעיני הנותן, ולא יהיה עומד בעיניו בכבוד הראשון. Which means, if I am the giver, and I give it to you, the recipient, I might have some kind of a superiority perspective on you, like I am giving you. So me, the giver, I would look down a little bit on the recipient. The third, לצד המעטת המתנה בערך אדם גדול, תהיה לו לחרפה, וימאס מציאותה מהיעדרה. Another reason is that Yitro would look at the gift that he received and he would say to himself, this is it? This is the territory that you give me? This is an embarrassment. That it's an embarrassment to me. The fourth reason, יש לחוש ינחם מדברו. Maybe he will change his mind. And also, מצד שיש לחוש שינחם מדברו הטוב אשר דיבר לעשות, או מצד צרות עין, כי תרא עינו מתת מטובו, או כי יתמעט אהבת המובטח ממנו בליבו. Which means, it might be that the giver will change his mind. He will change his mind because he will be stingy, or he will change his mind because he doesn't like Yitro anymore. And the second one is, or the fifth reason, לצד שלא תשיג ידו עשות. Maybe the tribe of Shimon, for example, would look at their territory and they will say, look, this territory serves exactly the amount of people we have. We can't give anything to someone else. So basically, Moshe is giving a promise to Yitro that basically says what? He says, I will gift it to you. But just one second, how can you guarantee it? There are 5 reasons to oppose it. Says the Or HaChaim, ולזה נתחכם משה בנועם דבריו, והסיר כל ההי חששות הנזכרים. So Moshe was very wise, and he basically, with his words, he was able to overcome all those 5 reasons that will prevent giving that gift to Yitro. So how exactly he did it? So let's go back to the Psukim. Moshe says to Yitro, והיה הטוב ההוא, אשר ייטיב השם עמנו והיטבנו לך, which means, he makes a condition. If you will be for us for a name, we will be obligated to give you a gift. So by being obligated to give a gift, meaning there is almost like a contract, an unwritten contract between Yitro and the Jewish people, So therefore, they cannot change their mind, he cannot change his mind, and they're going to promise him something which will be good for him. So this is how Moshe overcame all the obstacles. What we have by now is that until now, we basically identified Chovav as Yitro, Moshe's father-in-law. According to the Ramban, and perhaps even the Or HaChaim, the entire discussion here, the entire subject matter of this discussion between Moshe and Yitro was about what? I'm asking you, please, come with us because I need you to lead us the way. I need you to be lanu le'einaim, which means I need you to be our tour guide and to show us how to enter the land of Israel. We are a bunch of slaves. We have no idea. I don't know either, says Moshe Rabbeinu. God told me he will help me, but I think I need to teach the Jewish people a lesson of that from now on we need to be active partners with God, so you are my first choice. The Sifrei, which is Midrash Halacha, that was composed probably the 1st or 2nd century in the land of Israel, has a totally different perspective on this discussion between Moshe and Yitro. And our sages suggested the following. Vayomer elav, al na ta'azov otanu. Moshe says to Yitro, please, na, nun aleph, it means please. Al na ta'azov otanu, please do not abandon us. Please do not leave us alone. Eid na ela leshon bakasha. Meaning when I say na, nun aleph, it means I ask you. I really beg you. אמר לו, אם אין אתה מקבל עליך, if you don't accept my request, says Moshe to Yitro, גוזר אני גזרה עליך. I will make a decree that you will come with me, meaning I will use some force in order to force you to come with us. Why? Why is that so important for Moshe that his father-in-law will join them? Says the Sifrei, עכשיו אומרים ישראל, לא נתגייר יתרו מחיבה. כסבור היה יתרו שיש חלק לגרים בארץ ישראל, עכשיו שראה שאין להם חלק, הניחם והלך לו. This is a beautiful insight into the discussion, and they have few interpretations, and we'll go one by one. The first interpretation is that Moshe basically says to Yitro, look, you converted to Judaism. And people would think that, why Yitro converted to Judaism? Because he heard that Am Yisrael will conquer the land of Israel. And therefore, if he's part of Am Yisrael, he will get a territory. And now when he heard that he cannot get a territory, because it's only for the tribes and not for the converts, then he left Judaism. So basically, Yitro converted to Judaism for something that he can get out of it. And now, people will bash Yitro and will basically badmouth him and will say that he converted only for his own benefit. When he realized that he will not receive that benefit, he left Judaism. So therefore, Moshe says to him, please, I don't want anyone to doubt your conversion. I don't want anyone to doubt your sincerity, because I know you are sincere and I know you converted not because of an inheritance in the land of Israel. You converted because you realized that the Torah is truth and Am Yisrael is the chosen people. But please, we all know people. People have their own ideas about things. They will not going to delve into the situation. They're not going to ask you, why are you going back to your land? They will assume that you did it because you didn't get the land. So I ask you, I beg you, please come with me. We will deal with the land. You will get it as a gift, not as an inheritance. But please come with me so people will not badmouth you. And they will not basically disqualify your conversion. This is an amazing psychological insight into the ideas and the brain of people. When people see that something does not go exactly like their plan, they immediately come up with all sorts of things that have nothing to do with the truth. But Moshe is well aware, and he says to him, please, you are the first convert, the first known convert in the Torah. Please, don't mess it up. Please don't let them think those terrible thoughts about you. Please join me. The second interpretation is, דבר אחר, כסבור אתה שאתה מרבה כבוד, אין אתה אלא ממעט כמה גרים ועבדים להיכנס תחת כנפי השכינה. והיית לנו לעיניים שלא תנעול דלת בפני הגרים הבאים לומר, אם יתרו חתנו של מלך לא קיבל עליו, קל וחומר לשאר בני אדם. The second stage now in this Midrash Tanaim, in the Sifrei, takes this idea to even a higher level and says to him, look, Yitro, you are the first convert. Everyone is looking at you. All the future converts, they are looking at you, Yitro. And if you go back to your place, it means you didn't find a place with us. It means that you felt that you don't belong. It means that you felt that there is no sense of friendship or connection between you and the Jewish people. This is why you go back to your country. Please, Yitro, stay with us, because by staying with us, you will show for generations to come that you converted and you joined the Jewish people. Very similar to what we read on Shavuot with Sefer Ruth, with the book of Ruth, when Ruth says to Naomi, Ba'asher telchi elech, wherever you go, I go. Wherever you sleep, I sleep. Which means the convert, or the expectation from the convert, is that you will walk this journey with the Jewish people, with the ups and the downs, with the successes and the failures. Don't turn your back. Stay with us. Moshe is asking Yitro, Ve'ayita lanu le'einayim? What does it mean? And you will be for us, to be eyes for us? Not that you will lead us, that you will be eyes, you will be a leader, you will be this prototype convert, you will be the model convert to all future converts in the future generations. They will look at you and they will say, look at him. He went with the Jewish people through the desert, got into the land of Israel, never deviated, never went back, always felt this sense of belonging. Totally different than the Ramban. And then he continues. והיית לנו לעיניים, דבר אחר, והיית לנו לעיניים, a different interpretation. אפילו אין דיינים, אלא שכל דבר ודבר שנתעלם מעינינו, תהיה מאיר עינינו בו כעניין שנאמר, ואתה תחזה מכל העם. והלא אף ביד משה היה מסיני שנאמר, וציווך אלוקים ויכולת לעמוד. ולמה נתעלם ממשה לתלות זכות בזכאי, כדי שיתעלה הדבר בו. Which means, what does it mean, והיית לנו לעיניים? This Midrash says something tremendous. He says, עיניים are the judges. They call עיני העדה, the eyes of the congregation, because they can see for afar, they can see and understand the halachot, the Jewish law. Who was the one who came with the idea and offered Moshe help in the judicial system? That was Yitro. Yitro came along and he saw that Moshe is walking from morning until night, and he says to him, you will not be able to keep up like that. You need to have helpers. You need to have ministers of the thousands and the hundreds and the tens. But just 1 second, says the Sifrei. Moshe was told already on Mount Sinai, וציווך אלוקים ויכולת לעמוד, which being interpreted as, you need helpers. But Moshe never implemented it until Yitro, his father-in-law, told him that. In this interpretation, there is something beautiful. The first interpretation says, please, Moshe says to Yitro on a very personal level, I don't want people to doubt your conversion, saying that you converted only to get a piece of land, and when you were told that you can't, you went back. The second one is, Yitro, you are a leader of the converts. What you do will print its mark for generations to come. Therefore, please stick with us. The third interpretation is the contribution that someone who is foreign, someone who is estranged to the Jewish people, someone who came from afar and converted to Judaism, can contribute to all Am Yisrael. The entire judicial system that Moshe implemented was basically based on a suggestion of a convert. Which means the idea, the lesson is, don't look down at converts. Don't look down on people that were not born exactly like you or raised like you. They also have something to offer. They also have something to contribute. Open your mind and listen. Sometimes, Dafka, specifically people who were not born and raised exactly like you, maybe have something insightful to say. And this is what Moshe says to Yitro. Ve'ayita lanu le'einayim. You are our eyes. You opened our eyes to see some of the deficiencies in our system, and you helped us. So that's the third interpretation. And then we have one more. דבר אחר שתהא חביב עלינו כגלגל עיניים שנאמר ואהבתם את הגר וגר לא תלחץ וגר לא תונה ולא תלחצנו. Which means, Moshe says to Yitro, don't worry. והיית לנו לעיניים, we will show you tremendous love and care and compassion. Don't ever think that we will turn our back to you. You are part of us. Leave alone the historical background to this midrash, which might suggest that the Jewish people did not exactly behave so nicely to the converts. But it seems to be that the idea that the midrash is encouraging us is to do exactly the opposite, is to do what the Torah commands us so many times. Love the convert, care for the convert, because don't forget, you were also converts in the land of Egypt. A convert does not mean only in the halachic manner, which means someone who converted to Judaism. A convert is a stranger. He's a foreigner. Always remember, you were foreigners in the land of Egypt. You were treated with no rights. You were treated as people that has no place, no identity, nothing, just slaves. Don't do it to the convert. Moshe says to Yitro, והיית לנו לעיניים. You will be our role model. You will be the convert that we will show this love and compassion and kindness, and we will try to imbue it for generations to come. So this midrash does not talk about the fact that Moshe offered Yitro a job of being like this little spy, but rather to be a convert who is a role model for future converts. Rabbi Ovadia Sforno, the 16th century commentator from Italy, says the following: אל נא תעזוב אותנו, please do not abandon us, please do not leave us alone, ילכו בניך לפחות עמנו, please at least send your children. You want to go back? Go back. Let your children come with us. Why? כי על כן ידעת את חנותנו במדבר, ואם יעזבונו גם בניך, תחללו את השם בעיני האומות שיאמרו אילו רע יתרו בהם עניין אלוקי באמת, לא היה עוזב אותם הוא ובניו. Basically, Moshe says to Yitro, look, you need to stay with your children. You want to go back, I can't stop you, but I need your children to go with us, because if not, you know what the other nations will say? Yitro converted to Judaism thinking that this is the true religion, but he's going back. And he's taking his family. I can understand he's going back because he's old, he wants to be with his country, but his children join the Jewish people. But if you take your children with you, says Moshe to Yitro, this is basically like a declaration. Look, I converted to Judaism, I tried it out, it's the same thing like any other religion, so I go home and I take my children with me. Says Moshe, they need to stay. ובזה הסכים משה ויתרו ובניו, כי אמנם יתרו חזר אל ארצו, כאומרו וישלח משה את חותנו וילך לו אל ארצו, ובניו הלכו עם ישראל בלי ספק. Sforno, unlike the Ramban, if you remember, said that Yitro went with Moshe. Sforno says, no, Yitro went home. Moshe sent him home. But Yitro's children went with Moshe. How do we know? Because it says in the book of Judges, in Sefer Shoftim, ובני קיני חותן משה עלו מעיר התמרים את בני יהודה. that the children of the Keni, who was Moshe's father-in-law, they went from Irat Marim, which is Jericho, with Bnei Yehuda, with the children of Yehuda. So according to the Sforno, this is really beautiful. Basically, Rabbi Ovadia Sforno suggested the fact that Moshe says to Yitro, you need to stay with us, at least your children. And maybe even if the children stay, it reflects on Judaism even nicer or better, meaning Yitro is too old to travel, he needs to go home, he wants to go home. But he entrusts his children to this nation that they don't know. Because he knows that the truth is with that religion and with that people, with that nation, with that land, with that Torah, with that God. According to Sforno, Moshe's request from Yitro was, in a way, I'm begging you. You took a tremendous step, you converted. Don't take it back. Show others that they also, if they want, they can come close to us. So that's what the Sforno suggested. And the last one is the Ktav and Kabbalah that offered us yet another aspect. אחר שלא היינו צריכים במדבר למורה דרך, להליכת עמוד אש וענן לפני המחנה, we really don't need a guide. We have a pillar of fire, we have the pillar of cloud. אם כן, אין מקום לפרש לשון והיית לנו לעוניים להורות הדרך הנכונה. He says, I disagree with the Ramban. Nachmanides says that Moshe really offered Yitro to be his tour guide, and the Ktav and Kabbalah says, we don't need it, we have the pillar of fire, we have the pillar of cloud, they show us the way. ונראה לי בכוונת המקרא, כי אחרי שידעת אופן חניותנו במדבר, שהייתה מלאה ניסים וגבורות, בזה תהיה לנו לעיניים לעדות בפני האומות, ממה שראית בעיניך האותות והמופתים הגדולים, הם הישמעו את דבריך ויקחו מוסר וייכנסו תחת כנפי השכינה. Moshe says to Yitro, Yitro, you have a historical role, you have a historical position. You were not born a Jew. You were not born a part of Am Yisrael. You, by walking with us, you saw all the miracles. You saw the pillar of fire, you saw the cloud, you saw the manna, you saw everything that is going on, all those miracles that we experience here at the desert day by day. כי להיותך כהן מדיין אשר מהמפורסם שעברו עליך כמה מניסיונות בענייני עבודות אלוהי נכר הארץ, ובכל זאת אחרי בואך להכרה אמיתית להודות באלוקי אמת, עד שאמרת כי אתה ידעתי כי גדול השם מכל האלוהים, הנה תוכל להיות עד הרואה בעיניו על אמיתות הדבר, וגם המה ישובו לאמור כמונו כמוהו, גם אנחנו נחסה ונתלונן תחת כנפי אמונה זו. This is what I will call the universal vision. Moshe says to Yitro, look, you are one individual, but you saw the light. You saw the truth. You converted to Judaism. You saw all those miracles. You have a job to do. Your job is to spread the word. Spread it everywhere you can. Tell everyone you know what you saw, the miracles you saw, the beauty of the religion, the faith in God. And you know what? People believe you more than they will believe me, says Moshe, because I'm already a Jew. I'm already part of Am Yisrael. I'm already the leader of Am Yisrael. They will take whatever I say with some hesitations and with doubts. But you transformed your life. You will not do it unless you know that you are doing the right thing. I'm asking you to help us to fulfill our second mission as Am Yisrael. What is the first mission? The first mission is to create a nation with the Torah and land of Israel and to establish a kingdom. The second stage, or the second mission, is to be a light unto the nations. How can we do that? When you have people who sees the light, we are not forcing anyone. We are allowing them to see the truth in our religion, the morality, the ethics in our religion, the true God, and the Torah, the kindness, the day-to-day life. And then when they join, they create some kind of an effect on others, saying, oh wow, if Yitro joined them, maybe I should do the same. Hayita lanu le'einayim, which means that you will be a role model for others to understand, that they want to be necheseh v'nitlonen tachat kanfei emunah zo, that we also will believe with that faith. By the way, we are not talking here about full conversion. Judaism was never a religion that forced conversion. But we do want that the entire world will recognize God, will recognize the 7 laws of Noah, we will have a common basis, and the Jewish people will continue to have the 613 commandments. But there is need to be some kind of what we will call a base faith religions. And by doing so, ve'ayita lanu le'inayim. So this strange request from Moshe to Yitro has basically 2 different school of thoughts, or 2 different, I would call it 2 different ways to explain it. One, Moshe asked Yitro, please be our tour guide. And if we go with that interpretation of the Ramban, basically Moshe is understand and anticipate the idea that he needs to teach the Jewish people that from now on we are taking an active role in conquering the land of Israel and dwelling there. The second option is about the universalism of Judaism, being a light unto the nations, spreading the word, which, by the way, these 2 opinions are not mutually exclusive. They can be intertwined into one. We need to take an active role in the initiation of our redemption. And part of our redemption is also the redemption of the entire universe and the entire humanity. The day will come, and that recognition will come, and we will be able to fulfill the 2 missions. One, to create a kingdom, a holy kingdom in the land of Israel, and at the same time, to be a light unto the nations. Thank you.